Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video tutorial, I will explain how to consume the Django REST framework to display records into drop-down list using Ajax jQuery. Now let's check the final output. So here now we got the CIDs, the country IDs and the country names from this API. This is the actual database table. First we have created this API. Then we consume this API into this drop-down list using Ajax jQuery. That's it.
If you are a first-time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates.
Before creating a new Django web application, first we'll check the table and the column names. The table I have created in the PHP MyAdmin database. The table name is a country which contains two columns, CID and CNAME. The CID column is the auto-generated column and the CNAME column contains the country names. Now my aim is first I will create a Django REST framework API. Then I will call the API to display this CNAME column, the country names, into a drop-down list control using Ajax jQuery. So let's start the coding part. Before creating a Django web application, first we require one new folder. So I'm creating a new folder in new volume E. I click the mouse, click new, then select folder. Django, the folder name is REST framework Ajax jQuery DDL drop-down list. This is the folder name. Let's browse this folder. Right now this folder contains empty. The folder is empty. I'll create a new Django application in this folder. I'm using Visual Studio Code to create a Django web application. But before that we need to add our folder which we have created in the E drive. Open file and then select open folder. The folder name is a Django REST framework Ajax jQuery DDL. Then select folder button. And here the folder is successfully added to our Explorer panel. At the right side we got the welcome page. Let's close this welcome page. And this folder contains right now is totally empty. We'll create a new Django web application in this folder. For that go to view and select terminal. And here we got our terminal, which is nothing but a command prompt or PowerShell. So if you notice the path, the E drive is our folder name. This folder name is the path. Now let's create a Django web application. Django-admin start project, and the project name is DDL Ajax jQuery. DDL Ajax jQuery is my application name, and you can notice here the DDL Ajax jQuery, our application is created successfully. Let me expand this application. If you notice, in this application contains one subfolder with the same project name and one manage.py page, Python page. Let me expand the subfolder also. If you notice, in the subfolder contains some default Python files, settings.py, urls.py. All these files and folders has been created automatically when I create this project DDL Ajax jQuery. So after creating the project, the next step will add one models page. So I'm selecting the subfolder of the application. I click the subfolder, click new file, and the file name is models.py. And here we got the models.py. This models page contains a properties and our table name, just like it's a POCO class. So before that, let's import the models class from django.db import models. After that, let's define a class here. The class name is a country model, which contains a models.model. M is capital here. After that, we'll add the properties. If you notice, in our table contains two columns, CID and CNAME. So I'm creating two properties, CID and CNAME. So CID is equals to models dot integer field, and this CID column is a primary key. I'm adding that is true. Then we require the CNAME is equals to models dot char field and the char field is max underscore. The size of the characters for this column is 100. Then I'm defining another class. This class name is a meta class. db underscore table is equals to, between double quotes I'm adding my table name is a country. Copy that one and paste here. That's it. Let's save this file. After adding the models page in this project, next we require the serialization page. Serialize.py. Now in the serialize.py contains the model's name and the field, the model class name and the fields what we require. So before that we need to import the models class also. But before that we need to import the necessary classes from REST framework. Import serializers class I'm importing. Then we require the class from the models also. From my models page is inside the ddla, my application name, the subfolder name dot models. Import country model, the class name from the model. This model name I'm adding here. After that, let's define a class here, and this class is a country serializer. Serializers dot model serializer colon class meta class I'm adding. This meta class contains the model name. Model is equals to, our model name is a country model, the class name of the model, and we require the fields also is equals to, I am declaring all, double equals to all. That's it. Let's save this file also, save all. Now we require the views page also. Again, right click the subfolder, new file, views.py, enter. Now in the views.py contains the actual logic to create the API. So first we'll import the necessary classes from Django.shortcuts import render class. Then we require the models class also from my DDL, the application name, application name dot models class import country model from the models page. Again we need to import the serializers also, ddla Ajax jQuery dot serialize this file name here, and import country serializer. From the serialize page I am adding the serializer, country serializer. After that, if you notice here, the render class I have added. The reason I have added the render classes in Django applications, when we want to browse the templates, we require this render class. Add a templates folder to our application. Select the application name, right click the mouse, click new folder. The folder name is the templates, and inside this templates I am adding a new file called index.html. Now we got here index.html. So again switch back to the views.py to write the coding part here. So let's define a function, Dropdownlist country, ddl country is my function name. This function request colon, here I am adding, to call the objects we require one object here. Now in this function let's define a variable called show result is equals to a country model. Let's access the objects of the country model, objects.all method. Then we require the serialize object. Serialize is equals to, serialize object is equals to, it's a variable name, serialize obj is a variable, and we require the country serializer takes the show results dot comma many is equals to true. Then what we do is this function return response. I want to response class here from rest underscore framework dot response import response. I'm adding the response class here. In this response I'm adding serialized object dot data. That's it. Now to make this API we need to add the decorators of the REST framework. Decorators import API underscore view. Let's add this API underscore view in this function at API underscore view in square brackets. The API view method here, we are getting the results from the database. So let's add the get method. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Now the next step, we need to configure the URLs. In the URLs.py, let's import the views page. Import views. Then in the URL patterns, path, single quotes, show country is my API name, views dot. This function executes with this function name, comma name is equals to, I'm adding DDL country. Let's add comma here. Let's save this file, save all. Now let's open settings.py. In the settings.py, come to the install underscore apps. Let's install our application. Our application name is the DDL Ajax jQuery. Copy that one and paste here. Our application name here, comma. Then we require the REST framework also. REST underscore framework. F is small letter. Framework. Then come to the bottom. Notice in the databases, the default database is SQLite, but we are using MySQL. So delete this default one, MySQL, add MySQL, and delete this default database name also, which we don't require. We'll add our database name. Our database name is the line database. The country table I have created in the line database. So let's add the line. After that, we require the credentials also, username, which is the root, and we require the password also, password colon. Here password I'm leaving blank because I don't have any password to log into my PHP my admin database. If you have any password, please enter between these single quotes. The next step, we require the host also. Host is the local host, and we require the port number also. The port number of MySQL is 3308. Let's add that one, 3308, and we require the options between single quotes. I'm adding the options colon between curly brackets. Again, inside the single quotes, I'm adding the initial command colon between double quotes. I'm setting the SQL underscore mode. I'm setting the SQL mode is between single quotes strict underscore trans underscore tables. That's it. Let's end with the semicolon. Let's add the comma. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Now before consume this API in Ajax jQuery, first we'll check this API is working or not. So first we require to add our application name to the path. Then we'll add python manage.py. To run the server, we need to add this manage.py here. Run server, enter. So if I run the server, we don't have any issues. Below is our web server link. Control plus mouse click to browse the application. Here we got the application. The default page is showing page not found because we have set the page name is show country. Copy that one, paste here, enter. So here we got the output. The get method is a JSON tag. Now let's consume this API in Ajax jQuery. So again switch back to the coding part. Index.html. Let's add the doc type, the HTML code here, HTML5 code, header section, the title, consume REST framework into Ajax jQuery. After the header section, I'm adding the body tag. Inside the body tag, I'm adding the center tag. Inside the center, I'm adding the h1. How to consume REST framework into jQuery. Display records into Dropdownlist DLL. After that, I'm adding h4 tag, Django REST framework tutorials. Then I'm adding the horizontal line. After the headers, I have added the horizontal line. Now we'll add one select option element, select and the option. And this option is select country. Country, let's make this one disabled is equal disabled and selector is equals to true. That's it. Now what I'll do is, before consume this web API, let's check the output on the browser. In the views page, we'll add one more function to call the template def show country request. I'm requesting this function return render request index.html. Let's save this file, save all, go to URLs. Let's add the home page of our application, colon views dot. I'm adding my function name show country. Save this file, save all. Now in the settings.py, we need to configure the template section also. In the templates, the directories os.path.join method. I'm joining my templates folder with the base directory, base underscore dir. In single quotes, I'm adding the templates, the folder name. Let's save this file, save all. See, now after we run the server, we don't have any issues. Let's check the home page. And here we got the home page, the default home page, the header tags, horizontal line, and one drop down list select option element. Right now, this select option element contains 0 records. Now I want to consume this API, contains the India, USA, the country names into this drop down list using Ajax jQuery. So for that, we require the Ajax latest jQuery. Let's open this one. In the Google hosted libraries, notice in the library section, the script part is the latest jQuery serial link. Let's copy that one and paste here in the index.html after the header section. Now we'll add the script tag, script. Inside the script, $document dot ready function. Let's add the colon here, $dot Ajax function. Let's add the column here. Now here the first one is the URL colon between single quotes. The URL is our path name. So our API is this one. Let's copy this one and paste here, and comma. The data type also we require the data type colon, which is a JSON type, and the next attribute I'm adding the success function. Success function data. Now in this function I'm using for loop to fetch the records, all the records from the table. So here for variable I is equals to 0, I is less than data dot length property. I'm counting the number of records I plus plus. Then between single quotes again I declare the variable. Once we got the records, I want to display those rows is equals to dollar between single quotes option. Let's close the option tag. Inside these options I'm adding again single quotes plus plus data I dot, I'm adding the content CNAME. The column name I'm adding here, this column name CNAME column here. So column here. Now we need to append this option to the select option element. So we require the ID is equals to DDL is the ID name. So let's add here dollar Ajax. When we are adding IDs, we need to prefix with hash DDL. It's a DDL. Let's copy this one. This DDL we need to add here. Dot append method. I'm appending these options into our select option element. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Now let's Control C to exit the server. Again we'll run the server. If I run the server, we don't have any issues. We have already opened here database. Notice here right now we don't have any data. So now when I reload this browser, notice, see here we got India, US and Australia. We consume this API into this drop down list. If you want to add the double columns, let's copy this one, copy this one, paste here. I want to add the column name CID also. The column name CID also, we need to add exact the same column name CID. Now I want to display the CID and the country names also. Let's save this file. Save all. Again switch back to the browser. If you notice here right now it's displaying only the country names. Now I'm reloading the browser. Now let's check the final output. So here now we got the CIDs, the country IDs and the country names from this API. This is the actual database table. First we have created this API, then we consume this API into this drop down list using Ajax jQuery. That's it.